Sly is back on the show on a Wednesday. Sly, how you doing, man?
Spence, how are you?
We're doing all right. We're hanging in, and we're doing our best to traverse through what this week has presented to us, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's really not a whole lot that I feel like I want to ask you specifically. I just kind of want to generally know, Sly, what the last 5 or 6 days have been like for you as you've watched everything that's gone on in our country.
It's been rough, Spence. Simply because I take a lot of pride in people in general. And so just the way this is affecting everybody has really taken a toll on me. I play both sides. I'm a friend to everybody. I have family members that are police officers in Las Vegas that text me in the morning telling me that a couple cops in their unit have been murdered from protesters. So I feel that. I feel for my family's safety, and I feel for other people of color safety. It's just the problem is it's situations and stuff that we've gone through growing up, so it's almost normalized. It's like when you get into an encounter, you're supposed to act this way, and it's an uproar right now, but it's just crazy to know that a lot of these things have been happening throughout the years, and it's publicized now, and we're just in this crazy time to where it's like, what do we do for change? So I've been doing good. I've just been, really diving deep into my work, trying not to pay attention to the news. I don't really have cable, so I don't watch the news a lot, but it's kind of hard to miss what's going on in this country right now. So just from what I hear through the grapevines and from family and friends and updating me on stuff, but it's crazy as far as being emotional on these topics.
Sly, I know my lane. I know who I am. I'm a white male born into and raised in privilege. I am not qualified to be the spokesman for race relations in this country, but I do know I want to help. And I do feel like most people I talk to also want to help. From your vantage point, I want you to let's have uncomfortable conversations, Sly. We need to. I want you to tell our listeners out there, tell people like me, what it's like for you, what it was like for you growing up, what it's been like for you, and what it's like for you now. Like, tell us some of the things that we'll never fully be able to understand, but we're certainly willing to listen.
Well, the best thing to do is just education. History, I don't know what's being taught in the classrooms nowadays, but don't shy away from things as far as like thinking that it's normal or it doesn't happen. Just because, you don't participate or you don't acknowledge, but when you see negative things happen across the country, know that it's real and it does happen to people. When people say things as far as mainly talking about our president, talking about negative things towards people, like that affects people in a certain way. So like, just because they're not talking to you doesn't mean that you can't defend them. But it's terrible because I'm thinking about how I grew up and how my mother taught all of us, the 8 kids in the house, how to react when you really encounter anybody, whether that's police force, any type of individual of a different color growing up. It's how we were told how to grow up, and you're looking at it now. It's like that was kind of messed up. It's like, why do I have to, guard myself and protect myself so I can stay out of the way of these other people? Because that's just how it's supposed to be. Like normalizing bad behavior. It's never great. But, it's something where we have to turn the ship right now. Somebody has to steer the ship and turn this into a better direction. It's just, I don't have the answers. I'm like you, Spence. I've never had a political voice to speak on it. I just know right from wrong, which everybody knows right from wrong. When somebody's being treated a bad way. And it just shouldn't be like that. There's definitely different ways to go about it. And I wish I had a solution right now. Protesting, I love it. I love people sharing the unity across the country in the right way. I hate the violence that had to come from it. I don't believe that that's part of it. I don't believe that the change that happened in the late 60s and 70s was because of violent protests. I think the change became because there were so many people coming together. I've gotten so many texts and calls this past week, expressing their pain for us and what's going on and how it's not right and how they feel for, just walking around being Black. I mean, I'm not one to post too much on social media, but I felt so crazy the other day when I read a post that, somebody said, I support what the cop did in Minnesota. And it was just one less Black person off the street. I had to post about it. I normally don't, take the initiative and post about things like that because I don't want to bring negative attention on an already negative situation. But it's just crazy. That's literally the world that we are in. You don't know who thinks like that. I try to take the positive out of every encounter, every person that I meet, but you can hear by talking to your minority friends of all the different type of situations that they've ran into where they've experienced some type of racial discrimination and prejudice. Before they even get to know a person, you're being judged, and it's hard. For me, I'm a person that experiences it, and I don't try to add on to it. But as far as like, oh, you're wrong, I definitely face it. I definitely call people out as like, look, that's not right because of this reason. But I don't take it further than that and broadcast it to the world. But that statement that was made was mainly because that person was in my neighborhood, and their husband was a law enforcement agent or a law enforcement officer. And I was just like, I could be pulled over. I've been pulled over in my neighborhood, many times, and it could literally be me. And I think that's where this country is at right now is George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery. That kid, that man, those people could literally be me. And you just don't know when your life could end simply because people hate the way you look. It's terrible. And, that's why, everybody's marching for gay pride and all of these different things is everybody's experiencing some kind of hate in their lives. And I would love it to stop. I don't see any reason as to why it exists. I think we need to turn the narrative. However, we need to get to the root of the issue. We all need to come together and create these groups and organizations so we can all learn from each other and learn how to get past, times like this so this never happens again. But, sad reality, you talk to a lot of people, is like, it's going to happen again. And that sucks. But that's just, we're all humans at the end of the day. And I wish that everybody can sit here and try to find solutions instead of finding more negative places to go with how to react.
Catching up with Stevenson Sylvester, former Ute, and played in the NFL for a few years as well with the Steelers and the Bills, one of our favorite guests, and obviously no better time to have him on than right now. Sly, do your best to tell me and all the listeners what it's like for you when you see an unarmed African-American male have a white police officer put his foot on his neck for 9 minutes and murder him on television. What is it? Tell me what that feels like for you.
It's sickening. For me, if anybody wants to know what Steven Sylvester feels when he sees that, I see my face. I see my face on George Floyd's face. I was like, that's me. I see my dad's face as George Floyd's face. I see my little brother. I see my older brother. I see my friends and family I went to college with, grew up with. I see them as that happens to them. And why I see them is because I've had encounters with the police where it could have been like that. To where I'm walking out of my friend's house, 8 p.m., it's barely dark in Las Vegas. We're coming out of my friend's apartment, and 4 police cars just pull up on us. Put us in handcuffs without asking us any questions, who we are, or grabbing identifications, put us in handcuffs, and put our faces on their hot Metro Police hoods to where it's burning. and sit us there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, not telling us what. We're asking what's going on. And the only thing they could tell us is the description is a black male from 5'6" to 6'5".
5'6" to 6'5"?
Growing up.
Did you say 5'6" to 6'5"?
That is the description, not skin color, not tattoos, or not. Well, it was skin color, of course. It's a black male from 5'6" to 6'5", but not what he was wearing, not what direction he was going. No tattoos, no description. The description was a black male from 5'6" to 6'5", and they put us in handcuffs and had us on a hot Metro Police hood forever. And it was just, and I don't know what's going on in that. The thing is, like, police officers, they have to, take care of themselves. It's a scary world out there too, but like, we're literally young kids, and you roll up on us like that. And, so I've been in a few encounters like that. I've been pulled over because we're in a car. But I have no idea what's going on. But I've just been at the butt end of a lot of possibly fatal encounters because of, just if I see on TV on how other people react when they're being asked questioned or somebody else is confronting the police and they're not treated the same way that I would get treated if I was in that situation, is extremely crazy, because it's like, I can't act that way. That's what we say to ourselves, is like, I can't do that. I can't argue with the police that I'm pissed off, that there's no reason for me to be in handcuffs. Why are you pulling me over? If I do that, it has a potential fatal outcome. If you guys want to do ratios, you want to talk about numbers, then the ratio of me having a negative outcome in a situation like that is significantly higher than anybody else. And, the fact that, look, I'm a 6'3", 240-pound black male, I could come across as intimidating. So, I mean, I'm a grown man. I've had a party at my house, and, police came over. He has his gun on it. He has his hand on his gun the entire time he's talking to me. I'm like, everybody calls me a teddy bear. I'm the most, calm person ever. But like, it's just any encounter that we come across could potentially be fatal. And, it's just, you don't know how to react. So normalizing, submission is what we had to grow up in. It's like whatever the cop says, you do. There's a lot of, and the thing is like, look, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of movies, there's a lot of all kinds of things out there on the internet and TV and media world that you can see of explanations of this. And I'm like, these aren't fictional stories. These stories come from somewhere. These are encounters that people have had with, either law enforcement or some kind of political injustice that they just had to live with. And it's normalized. Like, it's okay. It happened. So let's just brush it under the carpet. It sucks. And so I don't know if I'm answering your question in any kind of way, but it's just, it's scary and very emotional for me, because I think about these things all the time. It's like, how can I be taken seriously? And even in business, it's like, what does this black guy who was an athlete before, what does he know about business? What does he know about anything? Like people look at you and have all these preconceived notions before they even know you, before they even listen to you, and it sucks in that case, and it's sad, but it's what we've grown up in and what we've had to know. So we've had to work that much harder because people see us this way. And that's why there's literally a movie called When They See Us. It's what they expect, and they never give somebody a real opportunity to show who they are. It sucks.
Sly, and phenomenal answer, by the way. I mean, look, we're talking here. We're having a conversation, and we need to hear uncomfortable things that are true. And so just phenomenal. I want to talk about your experience here, though, because I know you didn't grow up here. And like you, I didn't grow up here, but this is home for me now. And I love it here. I love Salt Lake. I love Utah. And from my vantage point, I don't believe we are a hateful place. I don't believe we are a hateful city. But the fact of the matter is 1.7% of our city is comprised of people like you, of African Americans. So I am not qualified to talk about whether or not we do have a place that is full of hate and full of racism. My goal this week is to enlighten and help, and then see what people do with the information from there. Tell me specifically, Sly, about your experience since you moved here, both in this city and in the state.
Spence, I completely agree with you. I think Utah is an amazing place. It's why everywhere I go, I literally preach that Utah is awesome. I go to my friends in Atlanta, I go to my friends in Carolina and Miami, and I tell them that how much I love it here, because I don't experience what they would experience in those cities. I think Utah is a tremendous place, and I do agree with you. It's great. But my position is different than other African Americans in Salt Lake City. I was fortunately an entertainer here. So, I had a different outlook ever since I came here. Coming from Las Vegas, there's articles written about me. People, I was taken differently because I was a college athlete. University of Utah football is one of the biggest things in the city. So I did have a different spotlight than most. And so I can't speak to other people who, weren't in the type of position I was in as far as being an entertainer in the city. I can speak to Utah is an amazing place. It's why I decided to move back here. I went to Pittsburgh for 4 years, and it was like, where would I want to live in a country? And I didn't want to go home to Las Vegas. California was just crazy. I love Cali, though. But I was just like, Utah is just amazing. The people are amazing. The landscape is so clean and welcoming and family orientated, and it's exactly what I want my kids to grow up in. So that's why I moved back here to Salt Lake, is because they do have that. But what I want people of Salt Lake and in the state of Utah to know is that it's not that way outside of Utah. In Nevada, in Colorado, in Georgia, as you can see on TV, Minnesota, there's a lot of hate in this world. I'm glad that Utah doesn't act the way other states do, but it is not that way outside of this state. And so Utah just needs to lead by example and show how it's done. Show how you encounter, minority individuals. Show how you support minority businesses, and show how you support the community, the minority community in Utah. Be an example. Be a light. That should be a hashtag. Be more like Utah. I love this place for many reasons, and the people is the main reason why, and I say that everywhere that I go. I love it here. I love the people here. My experience here, I can't speak to non-entertaining, Black African Americans, but I do see that there's a lot of African Americans that have moved to Utah and love it here as well. So I definitely want people to know that, look, when you encounter somebody, you don't need to make it a very awkward situation. It's I know what's going on in the country. I want to talk about it. We're flesh and blood. We're humans, just like everybody else. Our skin's just darker than yours. And so, there's no reason to treat us differently. Everybody has vexes. Everybody acts a different way. Respect personalities. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. I do love it here. But, Spence, as I said, I had a different, approach when I came here to Salt Lake. I was an entertainer, an athlete. So I did have a different stance within the community. So I can't properly speak to being African American in Utah, but my experience here was tremendous. It's the whole reason why I moved back here. So as I tell the rest of the world, be more like Utah. Be welcoming, be that family that everybody knows and loves, and support the minorities wherever they are. Make sure that they feel confident, because that's the thing here is, over the years with slavery and the time that's gone on with discrimination, it's the mental, damning of of the minority's mind. They don't feel confident in doing anything. It's from the public school systems and the funding and stuff like that. There's no confidence built up in the minority communities. So what confidence needs to happen needs to come from the community. They need to lift all these minority businesses up and make sure that they know that they can do the things that all these other companies can do, that people will support you no matter what race you are. Like, your business should tell the tale, not the color of your skin. If you have great products, you have great food, you have great anything as a business, like, that's what I'm judging you on. I'm not judging you on because it's a Black-owned business. I'm judging you on your quality of work. So instill confidence in the minority community that they can live here. And as I said, I've just had a tremendous experience here in Utah. I met amazing, amazing people. But at the end of the day, I was here and I grew up here as an entertainer. So I did have a different stance than most. And I can't say that I'm the same as many.
Well, look, man, that's phenomenal perspective. Truly, really appreciate it from you. We do need to catch a break, so we will set you loose. But before I say goodbye, I do want you to know, A, I'm glad and grateful that you have had a good experience here, and B, I truly believe that there are way more people that want to help you and your community here than anyone that wants to see you harmed or hurt. And I hope you feel that. It sounds like you have. I'm thrilled. You have my number. You reach out to me whenever you need. But in the meantime, stay safe and be well. And thank you so much. All right?
You too, Spence. Thank you.